Most of us already know that trying harder doesn't hold. We've felt that. Effort can carry you for a while, but eventually it runs out. So we look somewhere else. Not to what we do, but who we believe we are. Because identity feels deeper than effort, more stable, more foundational. If I can just understand myself, define myself, become who I'm supposed to be, then maybe I can stand. And this feels like progress, because identity feels more solid than behavior. Behavior can change, behavior can fail, but identity feels like something you can build on, something you can anchor to. So we begin to ask different questions, not what should I do, but who am I? What defines me? What makes me me? And underneath those questions is a quiet assumption. If I can establish who I am, I can make myself stable. This is the next place we turn. Identity stability. The belief that if we can define ourselves correctly, we can stand. And again, this doesn't sound wrong. In fact, it sounds wise. Be true to yourself. Know who you are. Live with integrity. You do you. That matters. Identity matters. But we have to be careful not to ask identity to do something it was never meant to do. Because the problem we're about to see is not that identity is false. The problem is what we try to stand on. Victor Frankenstein didn't just build something. He built a vision of himself. Not merely a scientist, but a creator. Someone who could transcend limits, rewrite boundaries, define what is possible. His work wasn't just about discovery. It was about identity. Who am I if I can do this? And for a moment, it worked. He succeeded. He did what no one else had done. And in that success, his identity was confirmed. But the moment his creation stood before him, everything shifted. Because identity built on what you can create depends on what you can control. And the thing he made would not stay controlled. It moved. It acted. It became something beyond him. And suddenly the identity he built collapsed under the weight of what it had produced. Because identity constructed from your ability cannot hold when your ability is no longer enough. Frankenstein didn't fail because he reached too far. He failed because he tried to stand on what he had made of himself. But not all identity is constructed. Sometimes it's something we believe is already true. Peter knew who he was, or at least he thought he did. Even if everyone else fails, I won't. Even if it costs me everything, I'm ready. That wasn't shallow confidence. It was conviction. He had followed Christ, walked with him, spoken boldly, left behind his business and his family to be a disciple of Christ. His identity was clear. I am the one who stands. And for a while it worked. He was bold, forward, certain. His identity matched his experience until the moment came where it had to hold. And suddenly it didn't. Not slowly, not gradually, in moments. 3 times. Because identity, even when sincerely believed, cannot hold you when what it is built on is unstable. Peter didn't fail because he misunderstood himself. He failed because he tried to stand on who he believed himself to be. And this is where we live. Not in fiction, not in ancient history, but right here. We are constantly being told to define ourselves, to discover ourselves, to express ourselves. Because if identity is clear, life will be stable. So we look inward. We analyze our desires, our patterns, our experiences. We try to name ourselves accurately. We try to bend reality around who we see ourselves as being. Because if we can name it, we can anchor it. But naming something is not the same as standing on something. And the more pressure life applies, the more we begin to feel that difference. Because identity can shift, not because we're dishonest, but because we are not stable. Here is the problem. Identity can describe you. It can even guide you, but it cannot hold you. Because identity is not ground. It is a reflection of something deeper. It reflects what you believe, what you value, what you have experienced. But when those things move, identity moves with them. You cannot stand on something that depends on you to remain what it is. Because you move. Your understanding changes. Your circumstances shift. Your confidence rises and falls. And if identity is built from those things, it will shift with them. This is why it feels so convincing, because identity works for a while. It gives clarity, it gives direction, it helps you make decisions. And when something helps you function, you begin to trust it. But functioning is not the same as standing, because when pressure comes, identity doesn't hold you. It gets tested. And when identity is tested, you don't feel stable. You feel exposed. Because what you thought was holding you was never holding you at all. So when instability shows up, we don't question the ground, we question ourselves. I need to understand myself better, define myself more clearly, be more certain. But what if the problem isn't how clearly you see yourself, but what you are standing on? Because if identity cannot hold you, then knowing who you are will never make you stable. It will make you aware. It will make you expressive. It may even make you consistent, but it will not make you secure, because identity still depends on you. And anything that depends on you will move when you do. And if identity isn't the ground, then what exactly are you depending on to hold you up when everything shifts? Next time, we're going to look at one more place we turn. Not to what we do, not to who we are, but what we believe will save us when everything else fails. I'm James Burke. This is Where to Stand.